Penny Jake, the tribe has spoken.
Fuck you, Kevin.
Aw, fuck you too, sweetie.
I'm JJ, one of the original Tribe of Nerds members. You can catch me on Marvel, Pokemon, and other gaming podcasts.
What up? It's Josh, resident superhero nerd, but I also dabble in the occasional super villain as well.
Some may know me as the Chaos Gremlin, but really I'm just Joe King.
Pikachu, use Volt Tackle! Good job, Pikachu!
On the Tribe of Nerds. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Tribe of Nerds. Shane, Kristin, and I are here for the finale of Deal or No Deal Island Season 2, and we're here with the runner-up of Deal or No Deal Island Season 1, Amy. Welcome to the Tribe of Nerds, Amy.
Hi, thank you guys for having me. This is exciting. I love talking all things DONDI, so
rightfully so. Rightfully. Amy, let's kick it off here for people that have not played to give the viewers obviously just kind of a little understanding. We were talking before we hopped on here of like it's not rigged, like you've been there, you've been out there, but you see why people feel it. Talk to us about like your experience as playing DONDI and then now viewing DONDI. So let everybody know.
So I've always been a huge fan of reality TV. My actual dream was to be on The Amazing Race, and then it ended up turning into DONDI. And from someone on the couch, a spectator, you always think, oh, that has to be rigged, or why are they crying? They just met these people. Why are you crying? You've only met these people for 3 days. But when you're actually in living it, like that becomes your life. Like you don't have a connection to the outside world. You don't have phones. You don't have FaceTime. You can't text. You're not around your family and friends, the people that bring you like comfort and joy every day. So these people really turn into your family. The people that you get close with. And so it's definitely not rigged. This is definitely pure emotion, pure joy, pure sadness, pure anxiety. Like if you're running on no sleep, like it's definitely it's a whole new world when you're on the other side of it, because I was the couch warrior talking shit, like, oh my God, how could you fall in love with somebody in 3 days? Oh my God, that's not your best friend. You just met her. But like I said, when you spend 24/7 for 30 days with their 28 days, however many, like these people really become genuine souls that you care about, and you care about their story, and you care about their infertility or their grandmother that's, in the hospital. Like it becomes so real that I have a whole new respect and love for reality TV, as if I couldn't love it anymore. I have a whole new respect for it because everything is so much harder and so much intense than you think from home.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think we've all now got to meet several reality stars, and become friends with them as well and things like that. And they all say the same thing. So like no one's out there going, Amy's lying, she's full of crap, because everybody says it. Like, and they all do, like every single one of them. So
yeah, it's a lot tougher. Obviously it's taxing and exhausting crawling through mud and some of the things we did, but it also takes a mental toll. Like you have to be very mentally tough. To not have your comfort, like your husband, your kids, your best friend, like to not have that comfort zone and be able to call and get like encouraging words from somebody. It's just as tough mentally as it is physically, in my opinion, and for my experience.
Yeah.
A lot.
Bringing up like this mental taxation that you experience. Coming from somebody, you lived the finale, like you were there. So walk us through, before we kind of dive in here, like everything that's going through your mind, the things. Obviously your guys' finale was very different than the one that they had this season, but just walk us through all those thoughts and emotions and everything that you're feeling as you walk into a finale here.
So honestly, with every person, I'm like, okay, I have a 1 in 8.3% chance. And then as someone goes home, I'm like, I have a 16% chance. So I'm, pumping myself up every time. And then when it came down to the final four, I was like, okay, I have a 25% chance of making it through. And when I knew it was the maze and, all the things that were coming, at that point, I think I'd made peace. I was like, out of everybody left, I'm obviously the shortest. I'm the chunkiest. I'm not a gym rat. I am not in running shape. Like, I'm literally a suburban mom of three. And that's what I wanted to represent on the show. Like, I could have jumped on Ozempic and all the other shit people do to lose weight, but I was like, I am who I am. This is who I am. This is what I want to represent. So I think at the final four, when I looked around and I saw Jordan, Rob, and Steph, in my mind, when I say it's mentally tough, this is like your mind plays tricks on you. I was like, this is it. I made top four. It's fine because I was like, there's no way in hell I can get through that maze faster than them. But then I realized you had to answer a question and I was like, I've been studying everything, who went home, the name of every challenge. I was like, if it's anything to do with anything I've been studying, I got this. So my confidence went from I'm going home to I'm going to win this final challenge, but your mind is constantly playing tricks on you. So when I got the answer right first and I hit the maze, they froze immediately because Rob, looked at my answer, blah, blah, blah. But for walking into every challenge, it's just mentally exhausting, even just walking up. And then I find out that within a matter of 10 minutes, after everybody gets back, I find out that I just had a 25% chance. Now I'm at 50. So walking back to camp, it was just Jordan and I. It's no loud noise. There's not everybody laughing. It's just her and I, and we're both just exhausted. We're dead silent. So many emotions, so many nerves. And then we got to the final thing and she ended up beating me. And at that point I just had a rush of relief. Like, okay, it's over. Like I didn't win, but I made it. I got second place. And then, walking into the finale, my brain is like, you're a loser. Like you got second, but that's first place loser. Like I was feeling very hard on myself and I broke down and cried a couple times because America hated me. They saw me as a bully. They thought I was just the meanest thing ever. But I'm like, I'm playing a game, this is the fact that all of us are friends in real life speaks like we all knew it was a game. Mm-hmm. But walking into the finale, I was just so upset at myself. But then seeing Jordan up there, knowing she did it, she kicked ass, she won fair and square. I was overcome with emotion, happiness, because I'm like, you know what? Like, it's not me, but it's somebody. It's an average Joe that wanted to change her life. I'm getting chills as I'm talking about it because it's an average Joe that wanted to change her life, that wanted to use the money for fertility. And then we end up having baby JJ, who I'm in love with. So everything works itself out, but your nerves and your mind it's a continual roller coaster. It never stops.
That's crazy to hear. I did want to ask before we get into it. So what's it like playing with a reality TV legend like Boston Rob? And obviously this season we saw Parvati and the Golden God, David. So what's that like to play with someone like that?
I knew who he was. But I wasn't starstruck or anything because I had in my mind, I don't care who is on this island. I don't care if it's a millionaire or nobody I recognize. I had in my mind, no matter who you are, every single person beside me is just a competitor to me. Right. But I didn't I looked at him as a threat, obviously. So I was gung ho. But me and Kim were like, he's got to go. He's got to go, guys. Every day that you leave him in this game is another day we're going to get our ass kicked. He's a reality TV star genius. He's guru. He's, in my opinion, one of the best to ever do it. Now in the show, you don't see that respect for him because I'm coming after him. I need him to go. But playing beside him was honestly epic. I learned, if I ever go on another reality show, I learned so much from him, not without him sitting down and teaching me, but me just watching how smooth he is. I thought I was pretty smooth. I formed an alliance. I got a lot of people in front of me that if they played the banker, I wouldn't be a target. I sat pretty at Temple 4 or 5 weeks in a row because I knew the people playing weren't going to take me out. But honestly, like playing beside him and Final Four with him, and I mean, like I couldn't really enjoy it or like I don't know what word I'm looking for, not relish in the fact that, oh my God, I just played beside Boston Rob until after finale and after I got home and watching it back, because in that moment, he's an enemy and he needs to go.
Right.
But outside of filming, he is a great guy. He sent my kids a cookbook that, he wrote a funny message. Sorry, kids, mom doesn't care or whatever. Like, we all have a great relationship outside of the show. And I mean, that's something I'll cherish forever. But like, like I said, even if this is one and done for me, I did get to play beside who I think is probably the greatest of all time. So I'll always hold that near.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Although I was pissed when he cheated, I was pissed off when he cheated off of me. I was livid. I was like, he needs to be disqualified. Get him out of here.
I mean, I would have been totally fine with Joe kicking him off the island. I would have been totally fine with that.
I was so livid in the moment.
Yeah, I'm sure they like told you that you couldn't do that, because I can see where he's coming from, where in Survivor you're allowed to do that. And like it's kind of second nature to him, so I can like understand that a little more than like some of the stuff CK was shown to do and people said that she did too. Like that's obvious that you're not supposed to do that.
Right. They definitely read the rules several times. You have to hold your hand and say, I agree to participate. I understand the rules, like all the things. So in that moment, I'm like, he knew he couldn't cheat. He cheated, like just to see if he could get away with it. But then talking to him in person after the show, and then a year later, like we all met up in Nashville for like a little reunion in January of this year. And I asked him, I was like, did you do that to see if you could get away with it? And he was like, honestly, like, Amy, I'm telling you the truth. Like, everything kicked in. It's fight or flight mode. Like, you're already gone. And I'm like, shit, I'm being left behind. He was like, and I just reverted to looking. He was like, I am just used to that. Like, I thought it was okay. And so I was like, part of me's like, did he just do if he can get away with it? Or did he, revert back to Survivor? I don't know. I'm not in his head, but that's the episode he went home. So either way, I was fine with it.
Well, Kristin, did you want to take us into the episode?
I was gonna let Shane walk us through it all, but I just have to take a moment of saying I hate CK and Letty and Philip because it's what I've been doing every episode. So I just had to take the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll talk about it more, I'm sure.
I really do hate them. Maybe it's really bad.
I've never been a fan of CK. Even when it first, you would think season 1, season 2, a DONDI family, you would think everybody would want to embrace and cheer each other on, hey, season 1's the OGs, and season 2. But right off the bat, when the first promos came out, CK was like, season 1, what? I don't even. And I'm like, bitch, what? There wouldn't be a season 2 without season 1. She was just very nonchalant and season 1, they're just full of nobodies. And I was like, okay, I see how we're gonna go here. And then you end up cheating 4 times. Sit down somewhere.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, I always say this too on every episode. Obviously we get an edit, right? So I cannot hate on you as a person. I don't know you. I'm judging you based on your edit. However, I'm very confident in saying that the way that CK especially, but even Letty and Philip in certain moments, you act like this in real life. You throw these tantrums and it fixes everything for you in real life, and you're used to that happening because no one switches on a dime like that to throw a tantrum the way you guys have done by what we're seeing in this edit here. So I always am very clear about that. I don't know you guys as people. You could probably be all lovely people, but I hate you.
Right. As characters on a show.
Yeah.
I will say, based on the exit interviews, especially from Letty, you can see that it's her because she's still seemingly very bitter and this whole almost a holier than thou attitude where she's like, well, everyone else was lying and backstabbing and I'm the only one that played with integrity and I didn't like being around those people. I'm like, did you not know what you signed up for?
It's a game. I grabbed my necklace and was like, I swear on my kid's life. But you don't think my kids that didn't know I was going to swear on their life for millions of dollars? I would have sweared on my grandma's grave if it meant I was going to be a millionaire. Like, they'll forgive me. Who gives a shit? Like, this is a game. That's what people don't understand. This is a game. Like, you are in situations that are not everyday situations. Like, it is a game.
Yeah, people that kind of talk about integrity, like, what is this? Like, Survivor started like 25 years ago, and people that are still talking about integrity in these types of games, like, it's just laughable to me.
It is. And it's so funny because, like, you see me and Aaron get into it, and he plays the victim, but like you don't see, like, right after Temple finished the big night where America hated me, right after Temple finished and Alyssa went home, which was his ride or die, him and Robert, his ride or die, he looks at me and says, like, shut up or shut the fuck up or be fucking quiet or something, and I'm like, who, what? Like, we've tried to get her out for 3 weeks, and we finally get her out, and you emotionally have a lot going on. I get it, but again, this is a game. You knew what you signed up for. If it's too much, like, it's fine, but don't lash out on me. So when we get back to Temple or back to the pavilion, and he was like, I was like, yeah, I want to talk to you, and he was like, fuck you, Amy, you blah blah. And I was like, no, like, no man is gonna talk to me like that. I'm gonna defend myself, but it doesn't show that. So it shows me being the bully, Aaron being the victim. Well, again, it's an edit. Like, the edit is anything they want your narrative to be.
Right.
So I get what Kristin is saying. Like, you hate the character that was shown, but who they are in real life is drastically different than a 30-second clip that they pulled from, it's a lot. I'm the type of person, I don't give a shit what people think about me. I don't give a shit what America thinks about me. I came home to my 3 kids, my husband, my family, who are super proud of me. But it does suck when they mold you into be this horrible person, and I'm like, I'm the funnest person. Like, I have so many best friends. Like, I'm just a blast to be around. But America was like, you're going to hell and your husband should divorce you, and I'm like, okay.
But I think, that's why I have to say that every time that I like come on this podcast is, yeah, I'm going to like trash you and I'm going to be really mean, but it's because of that, because I've met enough reality stars in my life now. I'm very close friends with a lot of them to know that that's not true. And the people that are horrendous to these reality players, they're going home and you guys are seeing this, and like, I'm like you, Amy, I don't give a shit. Like, say what you say about me. Like, literally, a guy has told me I look like a dog, and literally the next episode I barked. Like, I don't care. So it's just one of those. But for some people, it really gets them down. I mean, and we're looking at a day and age, especially with mental health being so important. You don't know what you're doing to these people. So that's why I say, even if like Letty or them were to watch, I do say I'm judging you by an edit. Like, I don't know you, because I want that to be clear. Now, again, certain things you've done make me think that you're like this on the outside, but I'm looking at it from how you're being portrayed on this episode.
Exactly. And that's what sticks in America's mind forever. Like, unless you get to know somebody as a person, like, like, if I was truly a horrible person, like, I wouldn't talk to anybody from the cast. But it's part of it. It's part of reality TV. Like I said right off the bat on this episode, you have to be mentally tough to be able to do this.
For sure. Shane, you want to kick us off with the actual finale that we all saw coming and nobody was one bit surprised by?
Right? Like, yeah, because I was gonna say they kicked it off with the cliffhanger that wasn't a cliffhanger, where trying to figure out, okay, does David have greater than 1.8 million or not? Meaning, did Philip give him the high case or the medium case? And Philip did what he said he was gonna do, gave him the high case. David's our winner. I always feel like, at least for me, it seems so anticlimactic when they're like, oh, you just won, but like, it's not over yet. I don't know. I don't know how they can fix that, but it's
yeah.
But yeah.
I've always said that I think the playing the banker picking cases is extremely too long. It's boring. People want to see drama. I've always said I wish we would get a little bit more of somebody's backstory. Like, start the episode with a little bit of backstory, and then let's do the challenge and play the banker and see who goes home that night. Because a lot of the good juicy shit happened after you, like, either that person lost to the banker and goes home, or they picked Alyssa to go home. that's when talk back to camp and it's juicy, like, I was coming for her, I'm so glad, or like, oh my god, we didn't get robbed this time, what's our game plan? Like, that's where a lot of the energy and strategy and all that comes, is depending on what happened at Temple that night. So I've always said I wish we would have 20 minutes backstory, 20 minutes excursion and Temple, and then 20 minutes, which I know it's only like 48 minutes, but I wish they would divide it up in thirds, so every episode ends with drama and like what's to come next episode, instead of just random cliffhangers and random preview. Like, give us the drama. Like, let's see people pissed,
Well, because they're not even cliffhangers. Like, every cliffhanger that they've done, or even on trailers, like, NBC really needs to get a handle on this, because it is all the things that they spoiled this season, just everything. It's like, NBC, please get it together.
And it's like, so I think Joe was on Kelly Clarkson show maybe, and he was like, over $5 million is one. Okay, well, you told me it's over $5 million, which makes me know it's not 6. And if you're saying over 5 million, I was like, it's either 5.7, 5.8, or 5.9. Like, hello, like, you know. And when you're winning $5.8 million, who gives a shit if it's 7, 8, or 9? It's $100,000. That's nothing compared to, you know what I mean? Like, I was the same way. I was like, this is, like, just say millions, not just millions of dollars, but over 5 million gives it away.
Well, and it's because we even said when we were watching it too, I was like, wait, like, as we were watching it, I was like, it finally clicked in my head, like, we knew it. I was like, wait, he just won the 12 million because of what Joe said. Like, and so we were like, oh, okay, so obviously he's turning all these down. We need to get to the 5, and that's when we're stopping. So
Well, and it's like, if he didn't win $12 million, then when it comes down to it before commercial break, you know, he doesn't, like, you know, he keeps going, you know, like, it was just, I mean, I get it's only the second season, but so much was learned from season 1
that they should,
that I thought it would be. The one thing that was super interesting, though, is because you don't know until episode 12 who plays the banker and if they're going to stop or not stop. So the show really didn't know how much money was ultimately going to be won until the last episode was filmed. And they didn't do any personal offers. The only personal offer I saw was when Philip won the $75,000.
Yeah.
That was really, I was really hoping, because of course, after, you know, season 1, we're all talking and I'm like, it would be so crazy if like say I had that night I had the banker's bonus. I opened it and it said no one got eliminated, but it would be, I think it would be more like, viewers would like to see more. Like, if I opened the baker's bonus and it was like, you can kick Alyssa off or take $100,000 and she's safe for 2 weeks. Like, I just feel like you could like manipulate people with money, because $50,000, $25,000, $50,000, $100,000 to the show is nothing. But to me, I'd have been like, that would have been a hard decision, because I know Alyssa's with Rob and Aaron, and I know they're coming for me, but when you wave money in my face, like, you can stay on the show and get $50,000 and stay, or you can kick Alyssa off and not get any money. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like they would like manipulate it and make it more like dramatic and more, you know, but it was the same shit.
Yeah, I was thinking the exact same thing. Like, I thought that the personal offers were a really good touch in season 1, so I thought they learned from that and would almost make them even like hidden immunity idols in Survivor, where you can like find them, but there's like a twist with it, like a beware advantage where you get the offer, but you have to do something to get it. Like, it made it so much more fun. But yeah, they didn't do that.
It's like they somewhat tried with like the will thing, like, you know, like, where they literally at the moment of like, if you open this up, you're gonna change the game. Like, are you gonna open it or not? It's like,
but Will is joining that game no matter what.
Yeah,
right. Like, I mean, like, you can see that maybe the wheels are turning, but they're very rusty and they're just not turning quite as well, because he needs to. Even that last challenge, we brought that up. That I mean, we literally just implemented it in Vanquish in like 2 days and made it 10 times better. Like,
yeah, absolutely. I wanted to bring up, like, NBC's editing, like, it's just turned me off for both Traders and DONDI this season. Like, going into like the finale, I just stopped caring. Like, honestly, I just wasn't really that invested.
It was, I don't know. It's hard for me to say, because even if I don't want to be biased, I have a biased opinion.
Right.
But I felt more and maybe it was just because I was going to be on TV. I don't know. But I felt more like, oh, I can't wait for episode 2. Oh, I can't wait for episode 3 of season 1 because I didn't know what the edits were going to look like. I didn't know I was going to be made out to be America's villain. Like, I didn't know Jordan was getting the winner's edit all the way through. But, like, I felt more like enticed to tune into the next episode in season 1 versus season 2. I've heard a lot of people say that. But their challenges were so much, in my opinion, their challenges were so much easier. And I got really, really salty when I saw episode 11 where they were meeting people behind, like the 2 people came back and you get this case and I'll help you do the challenge. Because had that been what me and Jordan had, I would have won. I would have beat Jordan. I had better jury management. I had all the 9 outs plus Branson. Like I would have beat her. I truly believe. So I'm like, y'all's challenges were easy, and I needed that one, so I could have won. But I mean, I love Jordan. I am literally just obsessed with her little boy JJ. He's the most amazing thing. But at the end of the day, it is a show, but I feel like it could totally continue to improve. I feel like if there's a season 3, it needs to be guns blazing, money, money left and right. Like, before you play the banker, I'm going to offer you $50,000 right now to eliminate yourself. And if you take the $50,000, you eliminate yourself, but you have to take somebody with you. Like, I just feel like I just want more like sudden, spontaneous, like not something that's expected.
We're missing like like you mentioned, like the drama. We're missing kind of what makes reality TV really great, right? So like we're missing the strategy behind it. We're missing the drama. We're missing all of the, all the things. So I agree with you 100%.
Yeah,
and it's only 12 episodes, so 12 episodes, 50% of those 12 episodes, you're watching somebody open a case.
Yep.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I love the show. I'll forever be a fan of the show. I just think that it has potential to be amazing. Like step it up. Every season, step it up, step it up, step it up.
Yeah, like I almost wonder if they didn't know like who their audience would be, and they're trying to pull in the like casual viewers that watch Deal or No Deal and get them to watch the show. But I think they're learning, hopefully, that they're getting the hardcore reality fans, and they should, because you're putting in these huge name survivors and Big Brothers too.
Yeah.
And yes, I like watching Deal or No Deal, but I like the strategy more.
Yeah, and I honestly, like, I get why you have, Boston Rob season 1. Like, you need to guarantee that because he has a huge following, you need to guarantee. But like, if I would have been on season 2 and I would have walked up and saw Dr. Phil and Parvati and Golden God, I would have been like, at this point, I'm like, just put all celebrities then.
Yeah.
Like, I hate that it's such a mix. Like, I'm like, they all started out somewhere. Like, Boston Rob started on Survivor, Golden God Australian Survivor, Parvati Survivor. Like, I just wish that it wasn't, because it makes me think they had 1 celebrity, then 3. It makes me think like season 3, it might be 3 or 4 celebrities again. And I just feel like that's automatically a disadvantage to the regular people that, tried out for the show and really want to live out their dream and try to be the next Boston Rob or the next Parvati, but you can't be the next one if they're still there.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
and and they already have traders for that. Like you've now made traders all reality. So like leave it there. Leave it
right
there.
Yeah. Traders, here's the thing about Traders. I love Traders. I would go on that show in a heartbeat. But I feel like Traders has the platform to be half celebrity, half non-celebrity. Because in that environment, it's like, you can be starstruck. You work in teams every challenge. Like, that's the environment that you could mix and see if the celebrity could woo you over. But something like DONDI, where there's this much money at play, and there's some team challenges, some individual challenges, and you don't know who to trust, you don't know what to do. Like, I feel like Traders is a better platform to have more celebrities, but not DONDI. I feel like DONDI needs to be more your average people, average reality fans.
I agree. I think like these shows are now getting into, we need someone so our show gets noticed, and they don't necessarily need to do that. So
because I'm 43 years old, so I'm definitely not taking away from anybody or calling anybody old, but like, where's your newer generation of the Boston Robs? Where's your newer generation of the Parvatis? Like, these people are they've been doing it 20 plus years. Like they're going to be in their 50s and 60s. Like, where's the new, the younger group that's coming up? I'm like, where are these people? Like, you can't have new Boston Robs if you keep using the old Boston Rob.
Yeah.
And I never want to see Boston Rob on my TV again. No, so we already know. Parvati too. The hell with them.
I was not a Parvati fan at all.
Never been. I know. I was like waiting for all the haters, like all the Parv fans and the Boston Rob fans to like come for us, but so far I've been only called a dog. It's okay.
I didn't even watch Parvati on Survivor. She just, I don't know. The way she behaves around men and like, I just don't like that. I think that's trash. I think that's trashy.
She's never been my favorite either, but I do acknowledge that she is a good Survivor player, but I've just never really cared to watch her.
I mean, she's really good. It seems like she, uses, I don't want to say uses her sexuality. She just, I don't know. Like, I looked at my husband and I was like, if you ever go on TV and let somebody sit in your lap like that, I will show up on the grounds of Panama, baby. You will not. Like, I just think that's crossing a line. I think that's too much. But again, who am I to tell her how to play her game? I wouldn't play like that, but that's just too much in my opinion.
Yeah. But jumping back into this final temple, I mean, I feel a little bit bad for David in this moment is because it was so lackluster, because now everybody, like, we know how exactly how much he's winning or in the ballpark. We know that it's not going to be that 12 million. Like, you know what I mean? So I feel like very lackluster. Shane, I know you and Jake went in knowing David and stuff. So how did you guys feel about like kind of this finale moment?
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like the whole time we were sitting there watching that, I'm like, this is boring. But like Joe and the cast and everyone was like, this is going to be the greatest moment in reality television history. Like, it's just this crazy thing that happens. And I feel like if you were there on the island experiencing it firsthand, yes. And if we were on TV watching it, like without any of these spoilers they keep dropping, like maybe we'd feel a certain way. But for me, it's just like, we know he's going to win the most money in reality TV history. We know who the banker is. Like, I don't know. And David talked about this too in his interviews, where he said it was like a very spiritual experience for him, where he would apparently like during the breaks, like walk off into the woods and like have communications with like his dad or whatever. And like he saw flashes of light to tell him what case to pick, but that didn't translate to us as viewers.
Right. No, I am also a big fan of David from Australian Survivor. I mean, he is hilarious and like he is one of the best players that I've ever seen. Has pulled off one of the biggest moves in reality TV history. And I feel like they somehow found a way to edit this finale and not have David even pop off on screen as much as he usually does. So like I was just disappointed in that because I'm a huge David fan. So
Yeah, I agree. Because, yeah, I mean, and I think David did such a good job this season. Like, you could just see his social game too, because he got the high case from every single person in that final challenge, including the guy that he single-handedly eliminated. So, I mean, I think David played a really great game and like is very deserving of the money that he won, and I'm really happy he got to win that. But it fell flat for me.
yeah.
I think it did fall flat probably to the viewers too. If I didn't know he was an Australian god and won before and he's already, a millionaire and has money and blah, 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 I would have been rooting for him. I thought he did play a really, really good game. I thought he had a good social game. He didn't really, piss anybody off like Dr. Will did, which I know that's Dr. Will's antics and his character from Big Brother and whatever. But the only reason when it came down to Letty and David, I was cheering for David. But the only reason he wasn't my pick right off the bat is because I know he already has a lot of money. So I always root for the average Joes and the underdogs. But he did he played a really good game. Like, I think Boston Rob played a great game in season 1. I think David played a better game in season 2. So the only reason he wasn't my pick from the beginning is because I already knew he's won a lot of money or whatever, but he played a really great game. I like David too. I like him as a player. I heard as a person, he's a great guy too, and kind of down to earth, just whatever. So I'm glad he won. I wouldn't have been upset if Letty won because again, she's an average Joe, and life is great. But David, he deserved to win the game. Like I'll say, if I had to lose to anybody, I lost to Jordan. Jordan deserved to win the game. This was a game where being a floater works out for you. And she was a floater. She didn't take sides on anybody. She tried to stay neutral, and that really worked for her. So I'm happy that he won. I agree. I think he deserved it, even though he's just got richer because he's already probably rich. But I think that, I'm glad he won, but I agree it did fall flat a little bit. There was just too much given away before.
Yeah. Which to me also, like, I don't know why they revealed the banker ahead of time because that was supposed to be like a big surprise. Like in season 1, I mean, I think we all suspected Howie.
It was obvious, yeah.
Yeah.
Where this was like out of left field and they announced it ahead of time.
I really was thinking, like, everybody, like, we were trying to figure out who it was, and I was like, if I had to give my best guess, because I knew it was a female, I didn't know it wasn't Jordan, but in my opinion, it should have been Jordan. I feel like Jordan would have been the best one. Like, oh my gosh, I've been through this. I know what these challenges take. I know how hard you have to fight. Like, I feel like she would have been good. But when I kind of assumed it wasn't her because we talk all the time and she wasn't gone for filming or anything, I thought it might be somebody from Shark Tank, like Barbara Corcoran or Laura. Like, I thought it might be somebody like that. So when it was Chrissy Teigen, I was a little bit like, I don't know. It just wasn't. I was like, okay, cool. Like, it wasn't that big of a big deal to me. I was like, whatever. Like, you're a case model 50 years ago. Like, who gives a shit? Like, but I wasn't super impressed that was the banker.
Yeah, I mean, it's so funny because we did week after week try and guess and things like that. And I think all of us initially, like, first episode when we found out it was when we were like, it's probably Jordan. Like, it's like that makes so much sense. But then like the more like we kind of started like figuring this out, we were like, it's probably somebody from NBC. And so like I know that very early on, I think we mentioned people like Shane mentioned from The Voice and like all these things, which is funny because of her husband, whatever. But
Right.
But what was for me, my guess that I'm still mad about because I was like, I mean, great, would she do it? Maybe, but like I was like Meghan Markle, like she was a case model. She's a princess. Like that would be a huge reaction because we were led to believe that they had this massive reaction, and they did not have a massive reaction to Kristin.
Right.
But I'm like, even when like we found out, I was like, she wasn't a case model, and then it's like. I mean, I had to look, like, she's number 12. I'm like looking up and I'm like, I was an avid Deal or No Deal watcher from the beginning. She was not a case. I can name all I was like Dixon, like, Anna was 10, Layla 13, like, that was me. And so it's so funny that I like had to look it up if she was a test run. Like, I think she was on for like maybe 2 episodes or something.
Yeah,
like she wasn't
pilot.
even. Yeah, it was just a pilot. So
yeah, she wasn't a regular for 4 or 5 seasons. I said the same thing. I was like, I looked it up too, and I was like, she was okay, maybe. And then I saw, a couple episodes, and I was like, I don't know.
I remember like fighting that. Like there was no way she was a case model. So I had to like look it up, and they say it's for the pilot. Like, don't act like you were a case model. You were there for a second. You were there for a second.
Demoted too.
Right. You got fired. You got fired.
And even like, Claudia was a case model, and she was on season 1, which I mean, I was literally like, the only person that makes sense is Jordan, in my opinion. That was the only thing that made sense.
Yeah. No,
but
like,
Chrissy Teigen.
Meghan Markle was the only thing that came to me because of the reaction, and I was like, she was a kid. Like, if we're keeping it with DONDI because of Howie, Meghan, and she's a princess. She's literally a princess. So like, and she's back. She's kind of out of the royal limelight, so she could do filming and things like that. So I was so convinced it was Meghan Markle if it wasn't Jordan. And then
I would have loved for it to have been Meghan Markle. I think that would have been better than Chrissy. I think Jordan, Meghan Markle, Claudia. I mean, I would have rather have been John Legend than. I mean, I don't.
But I mean, like, Claudia would have made even more sense because she was an actual model for several
years, and she was on season 1, and she has
and she was a Price is Right model, like all these things. Like you could have easily done. No.
She's been around money or game shows that have to do with money for a very long time. So I was even like, Claudia would make sense, like, but
no,
I was not.
But like to Shane's point though, Matt, like obviously let down that it's Chrissy Teigen because who cares? But then like that's all you have to go on is the reveal, and you spoil it on the Friday before. Like what?
I didn't understand that either. And she is such a polarizing person. Like, on Instagram, like, she has very harsh opinions about a lot of different things that a lot of people don't agree with. And I'm like, she's very controversial. Whereas Meghan Markle, I mean, yeah, there's been controversy, here and there, blah, blah. But I think a majority of people see her as a sweetheart and a princess and just out of the limelight, not for fame. Like, I really thought she would have been a lot. I agree with you. I wish it would have been Meghan Markle over Chrissy. I just was not impressed with Chrissy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I also feel like during the Temple too, like last season, Howie played the role perfectly where he's like, I can't let you win, Jordan. Like, I'm the evil banker. And
Yeah.
when like at the beginning, Chrissy sort of tried that and it didn't really work. And then she was like begging David to take the offer.
And then she's flopping around like a fish with the skirt cut up to her ass crack.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, like
Yeah.
what?
Is literally like
so-
on the floor.
I know.
I'm like, I know the role you're supposed to be playing, but you're not selling it, babe. Like
Right.
this just you're not
so bad.
selling
It's
it.
awkward.
My reaction was who? And then also just like, why are you lusting after a married man right now? This is really embarrassing.
He's
I mean,
married.
well, Parvati did, but
Fair, but
I saw that on social media. A lot of people were like, OMG, did you see Parvati's face when David got up in Chrissy's like when he jumped over the plants and was like right here? And so I had to go back and like freeze frame it, and she was like, I was like, ah!
but also, I mean, I have to bring this up too. Like, I'm with you, Amy. Like, if I was David's wife, I'd be like, bitch, step back. Because when he won, you would have thought that they were actually married, like how she was hanging on him and like, so I'm like, get off.
I'm like, the one thing that I always bring up and I love to say about season 1 is, which is so odd. If you're a reality TV person and you love reality TV, there's always a showmance. Always. The one thing I loved about season 1 is I really feel like every single one of us had one goal in mind, and that was focus on money, change our lives, bring money back for our family. Like nobody was like flirty and sneaking into tents, and like we all, most of us were married or engaged, and like we all knew that, we all respected that. Like I really feel like season 1 was so much integrity that we all had our eye on the prize. And then season 2 we have Storm and MG, and then I have no idea what Parvati and David, I don't know, but from the outside looking in, it looked like they both were like, oh yeah, we've gotten close to each other, and I'm just like I think David's married, and I think Parvati had a husband and then a girlfriend. Like I don't know anything about that, but I would be really curious to see what their relationship status is outside of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. I was even kind of laughing when or cringing when at one point like David's opening cases and Parvati has like the fake, like super fake voice where she's like, "You go, David," and it was like I cannot. This is bad.
Again, I am the first to say, like, I don't think that I want a season of just nothing but average Joes.
Mm-hmm.
No celebrities, no nothing. Just fit 12 people out there fighting it out, busting their ass to try to change their life. That's what I want to see.
Yeah.
That's how
I completely agree with you that like season 1, it just felt like all of you that were cast were just like the average Joe, where this season, the new players, like yes, I'm sure they wanted the money, but I feel like they were there for the fame. Like that was the thing they wanted most. Like Letty, CK, Seychelle, Storm, MG, like that's all they really wanted was like to be some big name.
Like clout. Yeah. And that's the thing about me. Like, that's what I said. I was like, if I never do another show again, I'm fine with that. Like I wasn't there. I'm 43 years old. I wasn't there to try to be an influencer or reality TV. Like I was there my mom had me at 16 years old. Like I was raised very poor. Like I was there to literally try to win generational wealth to change the game, you know, and or like the game for me as far as life goes. And to me, and maybe it's just because of who I am, I'm not a celebrity, but to me, that's what encourages me to watch as a person. Like I want to see that's what I said. I want to see some backstory. What are you fighting for? Why are you here? Give me the drama. I don't want to see Boston Rob, who has been on Survivor a million times, an amazing race. Like he has his own construction show. He tastes coffee and like, I don't want to see somebody like, I don't want to see the rich get richer. Like I'm proud to be his friend. I'm proud of his success, but like, let's give somebody else a chance, you know?
Mhm.
That's what I want to see.
Yeah, I agree. Well, wrapping up another season of Dondi, we have David winning a substantial amount of money. Yes, we all saw it coming. Yes, it got spoiled several times. Yes, NBC can really hopefully change to make it somewhat better. But all in all, I mean, looking at your season 1 versus season 2, I know that where I obviously enjoyed season 1 more. I think that there was more depth to it versus the season kind of was like, I don't know if it was just like I'm blaming the editing because I think that that's kind of really ruined it. But also I'm loving season 2 because I knew of David, but like his confessionals were hilarious. Plus, obviously having our friend Dixon on there like was just amazing to see and like just so like us like beaming. Like Shane and I joked that we were the original mom and dad, like us beaming like like
Yes.
you know. So yeah, I love bits about 2, but I agree that season 1 was probably more of a stronger season.
I loved Dixon initially. I wish he wouldn't have. I know it's easy to be so impressionable, especially like first time on TV. Like I was just like, you know, but I wish he would have, because I think a lot of the cast immediately loved him. I think they loved his quirkiness and how fun he was and his backstory. And I wish he wouldn't have just latched on to David and Parv so quickly. I wish he, you know, because I'm like, he's seen as part of that group and he probably didn't know this in the moment because it's hard to, but like from a viewership, I'm like, Dixon, no, get away from them, because if it comes down to y'all 3, you're the first to go, buddy. Like, you know, I think he could have made it really far if he wouldn't have latched onto them so quickly or even just made it so known. But again, you know, hindsight's 2020. Like in the moment, you're like, oh, this is fun. I have 2 big, strong people protecting, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, I definitely think I would love to see Dixon get another chance on something else, because I really think that America loved him. I think that the rest of the cast really enjoyed him. But just because of him being, you know, aligned with them too, or knowing that he was riding with them too, I think that really hurt him ultimately as far as his game goes.
Yeah, no, I agree. Trust me, there were many times that Shane and I were also screaming at our team, like, Dixon, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
What are you doing? But I mean, like, especially again, just having like seeing him have that like the biggest case ever and puts that into the like to have all these like moments that I know that he's dreamed about for a long time. And you know, I agree with you. I'd love to see Dixon on our screens again. I think it would be.
I hope.
Yeah, I think I think he won over. I think America loved him. I think he fared well with America, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Well, hopefully there was I definitely saw some Dixon hate and I called those people out too.
Well, they don't know what they're talking about, so.
I mean, me and Steph got so much hate that I feel like if it would have been other people like from season 1 or season 2, that it might have really got to them and really really mess with them mentally, because they say some really mean stuff, like
for sure,
you're so fat, oh my god, your husband should divorce you. And then one lady was like, I knew she was married to a black guy, and I'm like, what the fuck is that supposed to mean? Like, what?
Those are people that we call generic racist bitch number 1. Like,
yes.
those are
I'm like, of course, like, because I'm a woman that speaks my mind and stands up for myself against a man, like whatever. But the hate is real. But like I said, you know, everybody's gonna have haters. If they're talking about you, good or bad, that's still publicity. So whatever, keep talking. I don't care.
Yeah, for sure. No, like I said, I mean, it kind of comes with the territory of reality TV or being on TV, so like we get it for sure.
Oh yeah.
I will still stand up for every one of you, even if I don't know you and I like you. Stand up for you.
I was in the trenches like you don't know, and then
I'm
finally
like-
I was like, you know what? Like
let 'em
someone would be
talk,
like,
yeah.
you're so fat, and I'd be like, you're right. I'm gonna go back to my I'm gonna go
Let me
back
go
to
get
my
some chips.
cheeseburger. Yeah, I'm gonna
I'm
go
gonna
back
go
to
get
my
mac and cheese.
cheeseburger. Yeah,
Right.
it's fine.
Oh my god, so funny, so funny. Shane, Jake, any other like your closing thoughts on Dondi season 2? What are your thoughts and feels?
I mean, yeah, I just think the editing is really what took this down for me. Like, it had so much potential, and I feel like there were so many great things that happened, but like the editing just didn't do it justice. Because yeah, like having Dixon there was amazing. David was or is my favorite Survivor player of all time, and I never suspected that. Like we were trying to brainstorm who would be on there like back in the summer. Never expected David.
Yeah.
Really?
Never.
Yeah, I was so excited when I saw him on like the rumored cast list. I was like, wow, David's actually gonna come to an American show. So that was pretty exciting. Dixon was great. I liked at least like that Parvati, that this was like the family, like this trio, even though I'm not the biggest Parvati fan. And I think there were a couple other fun personalities, but then there were also a lot of frustrating personalities on this season. And
Yeah.
so like, and I did enjoy season 1 watching you guys play. I think it's something where I might have to go rewatch season 1 to kind of maybe see if I enjoy it more on a rewatch compared to season 2.
Yeah.
Because then maybe I'll catch stuff that I didn't the first time. And so, yeah, but this has been fun. Thank you, Amy, for coming on with us. And,
Absolutely.
We knew
yeah,
exactly like when we first started the podcast, we were like, all right, we can bring back like because we had Jamil on, we had obviously Kim on. We were like, we have to save Amy for finale.
Well, thank you guys. I'm obviously a fan, and I love that you guys got to cheer Dixon on. He just feels like such a genuine soul. So
Yeah.
I love that you guys had that, like you said, the original mom and dad, you guys had the this is my guy. Like I'm cheering for him all the way. When did you guys find out he made the show?
When it was released, the asshole. I'm so
Well,
mad. Shane knew earlier.
I knew the whole time.
You
I
did?
found out with everybody else, and I'm like, what a jackass. Why did you tell me? I was so mad.
I was wondering. I was like, that's because I had so many. I'm just curious because I know you guys are really, really close, and I had so many like best friends, like friends I've had forever. They're more like family, and they're like, oh my God, why did, and I was like, you know what? It's not that I didn't trust you or that I didn't want to tell you, but I think it's actually fun for you guys to see it on TV, like just to get that shock factor. Like I think it's fun. So I don't know. I think Dixon probably was like, wanted to save it for you guys can see the shock because I think it's like more a hit in the face when you see it on TV versus somebody telling you,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, that was me. I was like it was like early morning. I was like, whenever it was like what 8 a.m. or something when the cats came out. I don't even know. And
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like scrolling through, I'm like, this asshole, and I immediately went right there. And like Shane's like, yeah, I knew. I was like, well, now you're the asshole. I was so mad.
That is so funny.
But it was a shock to like scroll through the cast, and then you're like, oh, wait a minute,
What's
What?
going on here?
Yeah.
Have any of you three tried out for anything?
I've done an open casting call for Survivor, but that was like what 5 or 6 years ago. But it was a good time. I just enjoyed the experience of getting to do it and say I did it. So
Yeah.
I've applied too many times to count. Jeff will not call me. That's fine.
I feel like for me, the only thing I don't really want to do it, but the only thing I would do would probably be Dondi because I feel like it's a little less of the mental pressure that likely is with Survivor, where there's all the starvation and all that.
Oh
And
yeah.
it just seems like a fun game. Like, yes, it's still strategic and everything, but it's overall fun. So I feel like that's the one that I would want to do if I wanted to do anything.
It's so funny. I don't know if it was because Boston Rob was on our season and it was season 1 or what, but like I had so many people in my inbox, like on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok and all that. They're like, oh my gosh, I know you're going to go on Survivor. You're going to do Survivor next. You're going to do Survivor next. And then one girl was like, yeah, you need to be on. This was on a public comment. You you need to be on Survivor so you can drop some of that weight. And I was just dying. I was like, I don't think I could ever be on Survivor. And I keep saying that. But then I'm like, if Survivor had knocked on my door and was like, do you want to do it? I'd probably be like, sure, I'll try. I say I wouldn't, but I probably would try it because I think it's fun. I just don't know that I don't know that I would be good on it, but I would probably try it. Who cares? Whatever,
I mean, I would go on Survivor just for the Survivor diet too. Like, I mean, yes. Like,
right?
I think I'm gonna be a little bit more insulated than these other people. Like, let me have fat in my blubber, and I'll be not as cold.
I have enough fat stored that you guys are gonna starve, and I'm gonna be out here still rocking.
Right? Exactly.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's so funny because like I'm deathly afraid of like bugs and spiders and snakes and stuff. So like people are like, Chris, I can't believe you ever tried out for Survivor, and I'm like, you don't understand, like. The dream of that, like people talk about that all the time. Like, it's such a real dream for me to be out there. Yes, am I going to forget that in that moment? I mean, when I see a snake slither across me, yeah, we're going to have a problem on the island. But the moment that I'm there, like I try to explain it to people in the best way that I can. Like, experiences. I've literally my entire life dreamed of swimming with dolphins, and I finally got to. And like it was like they were like, be aware that the water's cold, and like you take one step and you're like, holy shit, this is actually really cold.
This is really cold.
I just booked it right into the water because I was like, I'm about to swim with the dolphin. I'm about to swim with the dolphin. Like, and I literally did not care. I didn't get cold. So like that's kind of how I try to explain to people, like, that's me getting on Survivor. Like, yes, am I going to be deathly terrified of snakes and spiders crawling on my face? Yes,
right.
It's the dream. So I mean, fingers crossed one day.
Oh yeah. Keep trying. You know what? Keep trying. Just keep at it. You never know. You know what I mean? Yeah. You never know what that next call could, like, if you've, like he said, he tried out. You just never know. I mean, it can literally be the very next time you try out, it's the one. I tell everybody, like, follow your dreams. Like, I am 4'11", chunky girl from small town America. My hometown has 3,300 people. Just be persistent. Don't give up. Like, anybody in this world that wants that chance, that deserves that chance, keep on, just be persistent.
Absolutely. Well, with that, thank you all for tuning in to our Deal or No Deal Island podcast. I'm sure you'll see the three of us again on Tribe of Nerds.